Have you ever left a gig or a project thinking, man, I'm never working with those guys again? Or maybe you've worked with a musician, artist, producer, or somebody in studio, any number of people, and just burned a bridge and said, you know what, screw it, this isn't working, I'm out. Well, today we're going to talk about why maybe that's not the best answer moving forward and how burning bridges could be the quickest way to end your music career. Let's have a think on that. Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode, and today we've got a great one for you. We're going to talk all about burning bridges and why it's not a great idea. We even broke it down into two different segments. We're going to give you 3 reasons to avoid burning bridges and why you should never do that. And then we're going to give you 3 great tips on how to avoid that moving forward. So just before we move on, just going to take a quick moment of self-congratulations here. A little bit of patting ourselves on the back, but this is episode 99. Next week, we will be releasing our episode number 100, so we're kind of excited about that. We have a special guest from the very beginning of this whole series. Before we launched our channel and our podcast, Mr. Tanner Laws will be joining us. Be sure to catch that interview. He even plays a song for us, but don't miss that. Give us a like, give subscribe. Don't miss any of that. Follow us. But let's get right into this one. Today, we're going to talk about why burning bridges can really bite you in the behind and what you can do to avoid that. So let's get right into it. 3 tips or 3 reasons, first and foremost, why not burning a bridge in music is a great idea, even though it might feel good at the time or it might be the right reason. Number 1 is that no matter where you're playing music, I don't care where you're at. Of course, we talk from a rural point of view, a very open part of the world. We're in the Pacific Northwest. Montana itself is ginormous and very spread out compared to many other places. But you could be working in Nashville. You could be working in LA. You could be working on the East Coast, anywhere. It could be anywhere in the world. I don't care where you are. The music world is smaller than you think. And the second that you start cutting ties with people that you've worked with because it just didn't work, or they said something that upset you, or they insulted you in some way that you felt, that's one chance that that person isn't going to come back to you, think of you when it comes for work, to collaborate with you, to promote you on a build, whatever it may be. You've cut yourself off from that going forward. You've left that bad taste in their mouth. And not just them. You always have to think, just like with everything else, the smaller the network, the smaller the world, they're going to tell some friends, they're going to tell people they work with, they're going to say, yeah, so-and-so is fine, they're talented, but it just doesn't work for us. I mean, he or she was a jerk, and they just didn't treat us very well, or they were rude, or they just thought they were better than they were, or, worst case scenario, you get that, those bad labels attached to you where they don't put the work in, or you don't want to be one of those people that doesn't pay their bills, or, pay their way, somebody that just walks away and leaves an unpaid bill. You don't want to be one of those people. So you just have to remember the reasons before you start opening your mouth, before you start, digging your heels in and saying, I don't need this, I don't need you. Just remember, if you can find a way to end it amicably, or to go different directions, still keep them as friends, keep them as clients, keep them as compadres, collaborators, whatever it may be. Just try to take that route if possible, because you just never know. And even I've seen cases of where, in history, where people will not work together at a certain point just because they're clashing. They want 2 different things. They have different visions. And then later on in life, they come back together of, hey, you mellowed out a bit. I got a little bit harder. We met in the middle. We can work together. We can make something great together. So you just never know. Don't get yourself painted into a corner because you gave in to your baser premonitions, your baser thoughts. Number 2, you need to remember that opportunities come from people, not just talent. And that's one thing that as musicians, as artists, whatever we're doing, we think that, if I'm just, the best at this, or if I'm top notch, or if I'm one of the best in my area at whatever it is, I'm one of the best singers around, or I can play guitar better than anybody around, or I'm one of the best piano players, or I can play jazz music better than anybody else, or I'm one of the best country music artists there is around. It doesn't matter how talented you are. If you've burnt so many bridges and upset so many people, people aren't going to want to work with you. They're not going to recommend you to better venues, or if that opportunity comes around of, hey, so and so is coming through and playing, they're a big name, they got huge following, they need an opener, your name's not going to be there because people have, it's a bad taste, they don't want it out there, they're not going to say anything, they're going to think of a friend or somebody that came through for them, or somebody that they admire or like working with, or even if they've heard good things, we should look into so and so, maybe they can open up for this act. That could be that one next big step for you. You don't want to be that person. Make sure that you remember it's all about people and networking, and very little is about how good you are in your talent. Yeah, it's important, but it's a small part of having a long and successful career in music. Number three, for the top reasons that we want to talk about here, of why to not burn bridges in music, you never know when your paths will cross again. And again, I touched upon this on one of the other ones just slightly, but again, I used a reference of people who had, at certain times they weren't quite ready to collaborate, and then things had changed for both of them. They moved in different directions, which happened to be in the same direction, and they collaborate. But these things happen all the time, and I don't care where you work. If you could meet each other working at the same venue, at the same festival, it doesn't matter. You're gonna cross paths no matter what. Maybe you'll use the same photographer, and then your name gets out there, and you burn the bridge there, and then they use a cinematographer, and then they know somebody who does catering, and they know somebody who runs a venue. These things really get out there, and you will come across them again at some point. If they're serious about music as you are, they're not going anywhere. So just think about that. Your paths will cross again. Those three great, easy reasons to think about before you go, kicking up dirt and stomping off or whatever it may be. Before you burn that bridge, just think of these three things. Now, let's talk about the top three ways to avoid burning bridges. Now, we talked why not to do it. Number one is communication and honesty. And this just comes down to, one of the biggest problems in the world is just we don't see eye to eye because we don't communicate. And if you can just stop for a second before something boils over or you're ready to just explode and move on, sit and think about how you can convey why it's not working, why it's a problem that maybe it's not working with you, and how that is affecting them. And think of reasons you can communicate to those people or that person as to why you see they're valuable, you see their talent, you see why they're great. Well, this isn't quite working. I hopefully we get to work together in the future, and maybe this won't come up. Maybe I'll grow a little bit. Maybe things will work better out in the future. But the more that you communicate and be more open and honest as to why this isn't working, and really emphasize, what part of you isn't working with this, and then share what you appreciate about them and why you want to work with them in the future. The more open and honest you can be about that, the more they're going to respect you, the more they're going to understand what you're trying to say, and there'll be something there in the future to work together with. Second tip you can use to avoid burning bridges is, again, using your honesty and your openness and that communication. Emphasize the gratitude. Make sure you are thanking them and being appreciative for the opportunity, even if it didn't work out, even if you spent years together in a band, 2-3 years, and it's just fallen apart. Show gratitude for the time you had together. Be thankful, and say what you took out of it, how you grew. Be very thankful for what happened, that you were able to do this, and that you were able to become better or worse, or find out more about yourself because of this project. Show the gratitude and share it. Make sure that they understand exactly why, and just share what your next, even if you can share what your next step's going to be. Like, I'm thinking of going this direction. I'm going to go solo, or I'm going to go play solo shows, or I've got a different band idea or a different genre I want to work under. Or, you could be in the studio and say, as a producer, I thought that I wanted this sound, but I don't. I really like what you do, and maybe in the future we could do something more, but right now that's not working. Whatever you can do to be open, honest, and just be thankful for what they've done, how they've led you in the right direction, even if it was, not the most friendly or the happiest way that you arrived at that conclusion, still being able to see where you want to go in the future is a huge win, and show your gratitude for that. Thirdly, and the last tip we'll talk about today, about top ways to avoid burning bridges here, is just leave the door open. Even when you're walking away and walking out of the room, leave that door open. Don't throw up a big old double bird and just say F you, I'm out, I'm done, moving on. Find ways to, during your communication, showing your gratitude, as those first two we talked about, find ways to keep that door open. Hey, in the future I'd like to do this, or maybe we can do a side project here, or maybe, I don't think we're going to work together great, but we have similar ideas. Let's find a way to build a bill together and sell that to venues, draw bigger crowds, get bigger payouts for everybody involved, grow our fan bases because we all decided to collaborate. Find ways to keep that door open. And again, even if it's a business, again, if you're using a studio or a producer, or even, like I said before, photography or a cinematographer, just make sure that you're finding a way like, hey, this isn't working out great here, and I don't like where we're headed with this result, or I don't like what happened, but I do like that we could probably do this in the future, or maybe we could do this a live recording versus this in studio recording, or anything like that, where you can find a way to, hey, I still want to find a way to work with you. This isn't working for me today, but let's keep that door open. I don't know if it's me, it's probably mostly me, but whatever it is, I don't want this to be the end of it. Let's find a way to work at something new in the future, make a project happen, make this work for both of us in a new and more exciting way. The more that you can keep that door open, the more your network expands, the more that I get it. Like, yeah, okay, fine. That he might have an attitude or she might not work well with us, but I'll consider in the future if I have other people that I'm working with, like, hey, you'd make a great band member with this person, or I need somebody to open for us. What are they up to? I think they're doing solo shows. Pull them in. Let's get them a little exposure, have them open for us. Things ended kind of good. I want to get them some work and maybe get moving in the right direction. All those things work great. So there you go. 3 easy tips on how to avoid burning bridges. And in front of that, we had 3 big reasons never to burn bridges. Something you don't really think about, and something that comes with the older you get, but to avoid it just being something you learn as you go along. Take the advice now. If you're younger, the sooner you absorb this, the further you go, the faster you grow, the bigger your name can become, because you learned this early. So that's it today. Again, follow us, subscribe, like this if it helped. Be sure to be here for our 100th episode for the next one. Again, we've got Tanner Laws coming in, and we're really excited to talk to him, and he plays a great song for us. Don't miss that, and we'll see you guys on that next one. Bye.